Hello, Versailles. How are you doing?
I'm all right, Lloyd.
We're broadcasting, kind of getting this show on the road, so we're right on time here. You excited about the pitch competition next week?
Very, very excited. Looking forward to it.
All right, and you're going to be one of the judges. You, you know, uh, what do you think? What are you going to be looking for? I guess is the simplest thing to ask. in
Yeah, the simplest thing and the most important thing is what will the new founders, what are their ideas?
Okay.
I'm looking to hear some great ideas and how they're gonna perform on those great ideas. And we're gonna be looking forward to having a good competition.
Oh, fantastic! You've been in business for a long time, so I remember back when you started Alpha Data Corporation. What were some of the key things you focused on in actually growing Alpha Data?
Yeah, it's a cliche, but it's customer satisfaction. You have to please your customers for them to come back and stay with you. And then when you get a reputation for performance, that leads to good things. So that was my key indicator right there.
Oh, fantastic! So you're saying, like when we do, people do startups, the founders do startup, they have some key performance indicators. So you're saying your number one key performance indicator (KPI) was customer satisfaction.
Yeah, that was always in my mind. One of my first jobs with controlled data in Minneapolis, I was a customer service analyst for a supercomputer company. And I focused on answering their questions, the customers' questions, completely, thoroughly. I always got good reviews for doing that. And that stuck in my mind. You please the customer, and good things will happen.
Fantastic. That's what all founders should focus on, customer first. We here at Startup on the Blocks, we talk about leveraging pitch competitions, accelerator program, and all the resources out there, but you can never forget, you always focusing on the customer and working with the customer. What are the problems that the customer has and what are the customer willing to pay for? So how would you characterize the value of relationship building with the customer?
How would I characterize it? As being a premier, the premier focus, Lord. I can't say that enough. Whether it's a product or a service or both, it has to be customer centric.
Yeah.
Customer centric from start to finish. You can always upsell, but you need to focus on that customer satisfaction.
Yes, I gotcha. Yeah, so that's the one thing you can do to help your company grow. Yeah, I remember listening to our venture capitalist speak at one of the programs I was in, and what, depending on the type of product or service you had, if you had an application or app, a mobile app, he basically said, you need to have, maybe like 50,000 customers to show you got some traction. But he says if you were B2B and you had 5 or 6 different customers, and they happy customers is the way he described it. But he also wanted you to have revenues, like 20, 30 grand a month. And so by having those happy customers, they know you got some traction. They know you actually have something that's valuable.
Exactly, Lord. And if I could just add one more thing.
Go ahead.
Repeat customers.
Yeah.
Yeah, come back, man. That's a key criteria there. You service them. If they come back, you know you're doing something right.
So the idea that's the part of that I should emphasize a little bit more, the recurring revenue, 20
Yeah,
to 30 grand a month, is that's
exactly.
well, and so like you said, is that if your customers are happy and you keep an eye on that, then that when it's time for them to renew their service with you or for something new, then you can, that increases the lifetime value of your customer. And I think in one of the previous sessions, we actually talked about the lifetime value of your customer. And so you kind of want to know the lifetime value of your customer and how long they stick with you. And then and I guess one of the other things was you have to know how much it costs for you to acquire that customer, or your customer acquisition cost. But the only way you kind of get to those numbers is that you have to come up with a marketing strategy, like a service, and then based on how much you spend and how many customers you end up with, then you can start figuring out your customer acquisition costs. And so that's pretty excited. I appreciate you coming on, kind of to help us get warmed up here a little bit. And I did put the link to for the pitch competition next week in the event chat. Everybody be sure to sign up for that. We already got a really good response so far. All right, Vercel, thanks a lot. I'm going to get this. I'm going to be sharing some pitch videos tonight, and so you're welcome to hang around if you like. But I'm going to be go off camera as the videos are showing. And, yeah. All right, so we'll see you.
See you. Bye.
Good. So the next thing I wanted to kind of mention to you all, these startups on the block events, they're weekly events. And so we're only going to do one more this month, but back when the new year comes, we're gonna actually start back our recurring weekly events. And so, and the idea of these weekly events is to give you an opportunity to network with other founders and other software, and to make the connections you need to kind of grow your startup and to kind of, so you have opportunity to share your ideas as well, and find solutions that to help you actually move forward. And the second part of the weekly event is to actually provide you some key insights or best practices for building your startup, and that's so. And what we're trying to do there is, we don't want you out there spinning your wheels, wasting a lot of money. We want you to learn what are the best practices for building a startup, and then as you learn these best practices, and you can be better prepared to get the help you need if your mentors are that you have, if they see you are listening, they're going to be willing to help more and more. And so, but part of the challenge is when you're doing a startup is the best way to fund your company is through customer acquisition. But when you have a situation where you're still at the idea stage or at the concept stage where you haven't got the customers yet, you actually still need to raise money, to, as you get the feedback from your potential customers, so you can have the funds to further develop and implement your solution. It's kind of hard to believe that people are willing to help you fund turning your idea into a solution. And you have better luck with that when you follow these best practices that we're talking about here with Startup on the Blocks. And so one of the fundamental things that you run across is the business model for your startup. And so I always go back to the lean canvas, and what'll happen tonight, I'll briefly show you the lean canvas. I won't go into any detail on it, just a little bit, but then as you look at the pitches tonight, I want you to see if you recognize the things that are in the lean canvas. So the lean canvas is like your foundation, what the things you do to grow your startup. If you skip things that are on this lean canvas, your startup is on a shaky foundation. And so, but it's always good to start from there. So I'm going to share my first. We'll review the lean startup thing just briefly, the lean canvas. And so here it is. And so so basically, this is your business model for your startup. And so the first area is your customers, and you focus on your customers and you talk to them, your potential customers, and you talk to them and figure out what they need. One of the things I did with Cognitive, since my company is a B2B play, I started looking at the corporate customers that were involved in the surveillance industry and that could use those type of products. So I started looking for I started looking for corporate accelerator programs where I can do pilot projects or proof of concepts with these big corporations like Avis Budget, IBM, all these big companies. And so you focus there, and then you want to know who are the early adopters for your product or service. And so as you listen to these pitches, you want to make sure you know who the customer, these startups that they're pitching about. And then this problem, number two is the problem. And so when you listen to these pitches, what problem is that founder solving, right? And so kind of what I want you to see too is when you look at all these things on this lean canvas, you want to know, as you listen to these pitches, where is that customer weak? Where's that founder weak at? Does he have unfair advantage? What's their how do they compare to the competition? So listen for those kind of things. And for the participate in the pitch competition next week, this will help you out how to frame your conversation. You will have 3 minutes to pitch your idea. And so I was last week. I think Y Combinator was doing their pitches, and the founders were doing their pitches. They had 1 minute to pitch their idea, 1 minute to pitch their idea, but they were competing for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the venture capitalists or investors were sitting in the audience waiting. And so how does that, when you listen to these founders, how are they making money? Where's this money coming from? How much are the costs, for them to deliver their product or service? What is their solution? What metrics do they use to determine if they're growing? What is the high level concept of what they're doing? How are they distributing their product out to the customers? What channels are they using? So this site is called leanstack.com, and each of these number things in this canvas, there's a video for each one of them, so it'll give you an idea of that. And so if you want to have access to a sample one, just message me in the through the chat tab, and I'll send you a link to where you can actually listen to these videos if you haven't listened to them. Alrighty, so let's see what we want to cover here. I guess we'll get into the pitches next. So let's share a different screen here. So stop sharing that one, and then I'll go. So I'm going to show you some pitches from the Google for Startups. And I'll show you a couple from there, and they were working with Black founders for this particular startup. And then after that, I'll show you a couple from the Launch Accelerator program. They had this accelerator pitches last month. And then I'll show you one from the Atlanta Tech Village, a couple out of that. So let's get the next one up here. It's from Google Startup. These pitches were a little longer, so I'll just show you a couple of them. So let's get started here.
Up next, we have Canaries out of Dallas, Texas. Canaries is a diversity, equity, and inclusion-focused SaaS platform that
departments. But hardly any know how many of their employees are sneaking into their cars to pump, or how many Black employees have been asked if they got into Harvard legitimately. The Canaries platform measures all three: diversity, equity, and inclusion, because we know how important these factors are to a strong workplace, and we provide a safe, anonymous way for employees to make their voices heard while they work. A healthy bird
from your competition.
Our core value proposition and that money.
CEO and co-founder of Canaries. The canary in a coal mine was once a mining tradition to ensure working environments were safe for workers. Coal miners carried the birds into the mines to monitor the quality of the air while they worked. A healthy bird of the day symbolized a workplace that was healthy and non-toxic. Similar to the way birds protected miners 30 years ago, Canaries helps organizations create inclusive workplaces and provides clear signals that foster healthy work environments. In its class ceiling index, the New York Times noted there were more CEOs named John than the total number of female CEOs in the Fortune 500. Research has shown that a quarter of US mothers return to work after giving birth within 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I remember one returning mom told me that she had to go down to her car to pump because her company didn't have a lactation room and there were no electrical outlets in the bathroom. So she would use the AC adapter in her car to pump. Companies know about the diversity of their organization. How many men, women, people of color work in various departments? But hardly any know how many of their employees are sneaking into their cars to pump, or how many Black employees have been asked if they got into Harvard legitimately. The Canaries platform measures all three: diversity, equity, and inclusion, because we know how important these factors are to a strong workplace, and we provide a safe, anonymous way for employees to make their voices heard. People of color are 3 times more likely to leave the workplace, and women are twice as likely to leave the workplace due to diversity and inclusion failures. Canaries helps organizations understand what's really going on inside of their organization and why they're losing the diverse talent they work so hard to achieve. Our DEI assessments will tell you if your company doesn't have enough lactation room, or how many of your employees report being questioned about their competency because of their identity. Canary sells annually renewing subscriptions to large organizations. And our pricing is tiered based off the size of the organization. Subscribers are able to gain access to data on their diversity, equity, and inclusion performance. Canaries provides the transparency into corporate diversity, equity, inclusion issues that the public craves. On our platform, you can understand what the work environment is truly like for underrepresented professionals. We also provide benchmarks to companies based on their industry, making it very clear where they fall behind in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We also provide actionable insights for companies on where they can improve. Canaries provides the needed insight into the experience of diverse employees within the workplace. In just 2 years, Canaries has grown from an idea to a technology company with major customers like AT&T and Neiman Marcus, and strategic partnerships with leading national groups like Prospanica, Inroads, and the National Urban League. We have an amazing team and a robust board of advisors, including executives from Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, and more. We've reached more than 600,000 total users, and by the end of October, we are projected to have more than 250,000 users visit the platform this month alone. As part of the Google Accelerator for Black Founders, we've been able to completely overhaul our architecture and enhance the natural language processing, machine learning, and predictive analytics used on our platform. We're also excited to announce the launch of the Canary Score. Provide an objective index of corporate diversity, equity, and inclusion within the organization. For example, we're able to provide insights that companies and typical annual engagement surveys just aren't able to assess. We look at intersectionality, neurodiversity issues, and our diversity, equity, inclusion assessments and platform provide guidance and insight on how to support these and all employees in the workplace. We are the canary in a workplace. Thank you.
Awesome, very impactful work, Canaries team. A question from the audience. Would success for Canaries mean obsolescence? And would the world ever arrive at a time where equity in which the score would be unnecessary?
When we think about what does success for Canaries mean, and would we ever arrive at a time of equity where this score would be unnecessary? I don't think so, because I think when we look at the issues that we are assessing and how the Canary Score is able to look at not only employee sentiment, but objective diversity, equity, inclusion factors, it's something that organizations and us as a society will always be striving for. How can we ensure that we're meeting the need of our employees? And just like if you look at any other index as far as kind of monitoring the financial status or corporate sustainability initiatives, that it's always helpful to understand where organizations stand within their market and within their industry and where we could improve. And so when we think about diversity, equity, inclusion issues, obviously, I think the first thing that comes to mind is gender and racial kind of terms. But on the Canaries platform, we measure a host of issues. I briefly mentioned, some of the neurodiversity issues and looking at things from an intersectionality lens. But we also look at things like parental status and disability and religion. The purpose of the measurements and the factors that we're looking at is how are we ensuring that we're creating a workplace that is inclusive and equitable for all of our employees. And so when we think about kind of, will that ever become obsolete? I think that it never will, because we will always have to kind of tailor the work environment to ensure that we're optimizing it for all of our employees. And, we look forward to continuously working towards achieving that equity.
Thank you, Canaries. Up next, we have Loanwell out of Durham, North Carolina. Loanwell is an end-to-end platform for lenders with intake, origination, underwriting, closing, servicing, and reporting all in one platform. Loanwell, to tell us more.
What if access to capital was equitable for all? what if the ways in which we measure lending risk was fair and impartial? And what if that capital was actually affordable? My name is Bernard Worthy. I'm the CEO of Loanwell, and we're using automation software and machine learning to help create a more equitable community banks and credit unions, loan funds. But these lenders really struggle with a really manual loan origination process with many inefficient steps, from applications to collecting documents to really long underwriting processes. And so our solution is to build an end-to-end platform where we automate the entire loan origination process from start to finish. So the next time that small business applies for a loan, their tax return with optical character recognition, their bank transaction information can be pulled in, and we can offer a recommendation for underwriting based on that lender's portfolio history using machine learning algorithms that we built in the Google Accelerator. Now, this is the type of tech that this industry, the community lending industry, has been dreaming of. And if we can scale the operations of a community lender with tech, then we can scale their social. Now, the market for digital lending is certainly vast, and we could grow in a lot of different ways. But if we're focused specifically on those community lenders, then our obtainable market is around 100 million in annual recurring revenue as an opportunity. And the way that that breaks down for us is with our typical B2B SaaS model, where we have a target contract value of 30 to 40,000. We have an integration fee from 10 to 20,000. And this really results in a pretty high lifetime value, a really sticky product, because we're running the operations of these lenders, and it results in many years on a contract. In terms of competition, we certainly have some, but a lot of our competitors were built 20 years ago, and we are leagues ahead in terms of architecture and in building and integrating with new third-party APIs. And so we really focus on that end-to-end section, and that's our competitive advantage. Instead of adding 10 disparate services to do one task, we have one place, a one-stop shop, and an umbrella for all the services that you might need for loan origination. Our team is absolutely amazing. We've managed banks internationally. We've built tech for Forbes and Visa. We've scaled software as a service companies from 0 to 10 million in ARR, and we've exited to LinkedIn. What's most exciting, though, is that we're all bought in on the vision. We're all bought in on the mission and creating a more equitable financial world. Now, in terms of growth strategy, in 2020, we are focused on creating this nail the niche philosophy, where we end the year with 400K in ARR. In 2021, we're really focused on doubling the deal size and creating that penetration in the market such that we see larger deals and we 3x revenue. And in 2022, we're working on scaling to adjacent markets. So moving into the community bank and the credit union space, seeing a pop in that ARR, and seeing a much higher deal size as well. Our two asks for today: capital. So we'd love to be connected to community lenders that are a good fit for our platform. And we'd love to be in touch with those channel partners and folks that can connect us to many. In terms of capital, we are looking to raise a seed round in Q2 and Q3 of 2021. And so mission alignment and fintech experience is something that we're really looking for. In closing, we're hoping to use software to create significant efficiency for community lenders, to create access and affordability for those small businesses and consumers in communities all over the world. And we hope you join us in that journey. Thanks.
Awesome job to Loanwell. And one question from the audience for you: what is your next significant product innovation that you plan to offer to your customers that differentiates your product from your competitors?
So the next big product innovation for the Loanwell team is automating the underwriting process. I mean, we are automating so much of what we do for these lenders, but the biggest opportunity is right there in front of us. And we've focused on this as a part of the Google Accelerator, and it's frankly why we joined the program, to really work with experts at Google to understand the intricacies of OCR, as well as the machine learning piece, to understand how to best offer this to our lenders in our platform. And so we have some great groundwork created for that. And we're excited to launch a pilot in Q2 of next year. And so we're tackling this in 4 different ways. If we can read documents with OCR technology, then we'd be able to digitize that information and pull that information in. If we can pull transaction data from Plaid and other sources, we can automate the bank stub requests that we often see for borrowers. If we can use credit report information to come directly in to your underwriting models, then obviously that saves a ton of time. And lastly, if we can offer a recommendation engine based on machine learning algorithms and being trained on that lender's portfolio data itself, then it presents tremendous value to our customers and obviously to our team in terms of sales potential. So really excited about that Q2 pilot, and we hope coming out of that, we're able to offer the product at full release by the end of the year.
Congratulations to the Lonewell team. And last but not
All righty. That was an example of what Google does to help startups. And so a lot of founders out there that are just getting started and you're not in all that tech stuff, but if you have the background on the problem that you're trying to solve and put together the team to move forward with solving that problem, and these accelerator programs help you move forward. One of the things that I've also noticed is some of these companies that I see, like this the Canary, I saw them, so they participated in the Google for startups this year. But just a week or two ago, I saw them participating in another program, that accelerator program that was targeted for Black founders, and so they're literally leveraging these programs to help build out their product and services and getting the help that they need to move forward. So if there are any preliminary questions about those two pitches, so I hope you notice some of the key things that were found in the lean canvas, and how if you get started correctly with that, everything builds from that. Do we have any questions from the audience? I'm looking at the stage chat right now to see if anybody got any preliminary questions. And next, we're gonna look at a couple of pitches from the Launch Accelerator. And if you're in the podcasting and you want to know about startups and all the different technology and what investors look for, there's a podcast called This Week in Startups. And so this Launch Accelerator programs, is the ones that get all these angel investors and venture capitalists to kind of listen to those pitches. So I don't see any questions in the chat. I think if you paid attention to those last two pitches, you saw how they covered a lot of things in the Lean Startup Canvas. So let's go to our second set of pitches here. And so we're going to do the launch. So just bear with me a second as I bring that up. Go full screen.
That really connects with customers, and then a growth-minded, perhaps growth-obsessed founding team. And if you don't have those two things, it's very hard to make it work. When you do have those two things, you can see magical things happen. And we all know a bunch of D2C brands that have done great. And so we have been on the lookout for these companies, and we saw the SIP and we met the team. We thought, yep, this is a team that has those two qualities and we want to be part of it. So 2, go.
Thanks, Jason. Hello, everyone. I'm Erica Davis, CEO and co-founder of the SIP. We're building a community powered by subscription and driven by AI to change the way consumers discover and shop luxury wines. The SIP was inspired by my monthly girls' nights with my co-founder and best friend, Catherine. We wanted to discover and try new high-end sparkling wines, but getting our hands on them was harder than we expected. Once we discovered the brands, it was even harder to figure out where to purchase, and oftentimes the price for the wine was too high for something we didn't know if we liked. We looked around and no one was focused on this problem. They wanted us to do a lot of work and we just wanted to take a sip. So we created a seamless way to discover high-end champagne. With the SIP, we allow you to taste a full-size bottle in a smaller format, making this luxury product accessible. We curate 6 boxes a year where we send 6 flights of champagne, a custom gift, and a sip guide that helps you understand your palate. The best part, the more you sip, the more you save on a full-size bottle, which sippers can purchase directly from us. Joining the SIP is simple and fun. Sippers can choose to subscribe bi-monthly for $59.95 and cancel anytime, or commit to a year with an annual subscription and save. Right now, we're hyper-focused on growth, and a major lever we use is PR. And the last press placements, but these aren't vanity points for us. These placements drive 40% of our total sessions. What we do with those sessions is truly dynamic. They fuel acquisition in 3 ways. The traffic drops to our site and converts to a subscriber, or a consumer purchases a gift box where we capture their email and funnel them down into our drip campaign to become a subscriber. Then we create a lookalike campaign based on the demographics of the most successful placements. Another acquisition channel is corporate gifting. With COVID's impact on corporate employees and cancellation of holiday parties, we see a massive opportunity to take these events digital for these employees and brands. This channel is another lever that allows us to grow our revenue and also convert gifters into subscribers. We're currently at $22,000 in monthly revenue and on track to do $30,000 this month with a 34 blended CAC and a 4% churn. We've shipped over 2,500 boxes to 800 customers and growing with an average 38% month-over-month subscriber growth. We have 2 CAC numbers that we really focus on. We anticipate converting 25% of our gifters into subscribers. So in other words, we get them at the lowest CAC and then convert them to lifetime members. The SIP allows us to tap into an unsaturated market, to capture the audience base early and win her loyalty. Once we've done that, we really focus on the full bottle upgrade, which is based on consumer reviews and driven by AI recommendations. We'll then be launching the SIP cocktails next year. The upgrade will include a curated cocktail kit owned by the SIP and created to enhance the champagne experience, giving our simpers the option to personalize, but gives us the opportunity to upsell our customer, expand our product offering, and own our margins. Our path to 100 million will mainly be driven by full bottle purchase, product, and brand expansions. And this is my team. My co-founder and I have been friends for over 10 years. My team has a collective 25 years of experience in merchandising, logistics, and marketing. And I'm Erica Davis, CEO and co-founder of the SIP. We're building a community powered by subscription, driven by AI to change the way consumers discover, shop luxury wines and spirits. Love to take your questions.
All right, great job, Erica. Okay, investors, back around the horn. Alexandra, back to you.
Yeah, thank you. Two questions. Any thought to partnering with apartment communities as a way to welcome new residents? And second question, use of funds for your raise.
Okay, thanks. Allison.
Hi, great job. You didn't go into much detail about the cost with your business. So how much does it cost? How much does each box cost you? How much does shipping cost? And then also, how do you deal with inventory costs?
Okay, thanks. Andrew.
I'm interested to hear whether there's a COVID opportunity here. I know that alcohol consumption has skyrocketed because everybody wants to drink as much as they can during COVID, but also want to know whether there's a CAC opportunity. Maybe there's some decreasing customer acquisition.
Okay, thanks. Ben.
Yes, I'd like to hear a little bit more about the AI side. You're trying to match up flavor profiles and sort of how you're building the engine for that, what sort of data you're relying on, where you're getting it.
All right, great. Todd is asking, do you expect more revenue from subscriptions or selling full-size bottles? And Eugene is asking, what is the churn calculated against? You said 4%. Is that per year or per month? It's a lot, but 2 minutes, as many as you can.
Who skipped, as well as an active member as well. Todd, in terms of the more revenue, I actually didn't capture that one, so I'm going to skip to the top in terms of partnering with communities. So Alexander, in terms of like who we partner right now with in terms of communities, we partner right now directly with brands like LVMH. And we partner with them through a media buy, and what brands like LVMH care about is our brand exposure and telling deep stories to connect with consumers. They get access to our reach and network of our influencers, and then we align our with those brands to activate subscribers. Where we get most of our growth from in terms of revenue, it's really with our corporate. And so to answer the COVID question, that has a great deal to do with it. In terms of how we are capitalizing on COVID, as much as I hate to say that, it's really with the terms of like, there's about a 30% in consumption in terms of alcohol right now. A lot of that is happening with a lot of corporate companies trying to figure out how to actually keep their employees engaged. And a lot of that has to do with virtual events. So what we're now doing is partner with them to take those events digital. We capture their information and then we convert those also into subscribers. In terms of the unit economics, the question about that is, I can give you, is in terms of unit economics right now, we're at a blend at 57 with a goal to be at 60 by the year. The base of a couple of things, we've negotiated pricing with our third-party couriers. So essentially the more we ship, the less we pay. We anticipate getting media buys and brands like LVMH, which in return will pay for subscriptions, bottle costs, and significantly increase our churn. I think I'm out of time, but I'll answer all the rest of the questions in.
All right, great. Yeah, there's a lot more questions for you in the Q&A, and including the one from Todd, and that I may have bumbled that, so sorry, Erica. That was my fault. Next up is Shun from Remote Hour.
Okay, obviously we're all at home and we have to take a lot of meetings, and when I saw this product, I was like, oh, it's a perfect product for me. I like to make myself available, but part of the problem with making yourself available is that sometimes it's hard to end the call and they just go on and on and on. So you want to make yourself available, but you don't want to be available for an hour. You probably want to be available for 5 minutes or 10 minutes to do a quick chat with somebody. And so Zoom meets speed dating in your own private room was just the perfect solution. And when I've used it, it's really been delightful for me as a high extrovert to just meet new people, at 5 minutes a pop, meet 10 of them. Again, also a great builder who's moving at a velocity, which is just really, really incredible. So, Shun, you have 3 minutes, 3 to go.
Nice and slow.
Thanks, Jason. Okay. I'm Shun, CEO and co-founder of Remote Hour. Remote Hour is a website that gives the most spontaneous, open solutions to video calls. This is how it works. Meet Shun. He's an investor, and whenever he wants to invest in new startups, he schedules Zoom calls. But she is frustrated. His entrepreneur has to first fill out a form on the website, then book a meeting time with Shun, and you know how annoying that can be. And finally, the Zoom call is a waste of the Shun's time. At the end of the month, he only got to talk to 2 founders, which is not enough. So he chose to start using Remote Hour instead. With Remote Hour, you can set up a room where you do 3 or 5 minutes of calls and people just queue up and you can just zip through them. The entrepreneurs can with one click connect to him, and then they can pitch how the business works in some video chat and screen sharing. There's a timer at the top. After 5 minutes, the call automatically ends. Let me demonstrate how Remote Hour works. First, she schedules the day and time he's available on his calendar. Next, he will share his room link with the founders, and then they subscribe his room with their emails. When the office hour begins, his status changes from away to online. When he's online, the subscribers to his room would get email notifications automatically. This is a view of how the guests call the host. So just one click, the founders don't need to have an account to talk to Shun. This is why Remote Hour is frictionless and seamless. She's delighted with Remote Hour. He's now talking to 8 entrepreneurs per day. This is not big. That's more than his usual. No more back and forth scheduling. She has saved so much time. Remote Hour is web-based, so she can easily share his link everywhere and even embed it onto his website. Business model is search. If users land up the rooms, they can upgrade our premium plan and instantly access more private room helps them monetize with their paid rooms. Our customers are people want a lot of the transactions in the day, such as VCs, professors, customer support, or HR departments. We are really unique in the video call space. Remote is a highly powerful, keeps you always connected. We launched the app mid-March, advertising, and since this June, and our MRR is on the way, but consistently growing. We have 3 full-time engineers and 3 freelancers. Thank you. I'm Shun, CEO and co-founder of Remoter. Remoter.com is a website that gives the most spontaneous, open the solutions to video calls.
All right, great job, Shun. Okay, investors. David, you joined us.
Hi everyone, this is David. I'm with the SVC. We do. We're based in San Francisco. We do $250K to $1.5 million checks. Thanks, Shun. So it seems like this provides a nice functionality around sort of scheduling that hour or 2-hour block. It seems like a nice to have rather than a need to have. How do you see this fitting into somebody's ongoing schedule or ongoing life?
Okay, thanks, David. Jonathan, question for Shun?
Sure. First of all, I love that you use Shin in your example. I was a Kaufman fellow with him, and he's one of the best people on the planet. So please send my regards. He's great. I'm just curious, so like Zoom launched their events management platform today, which killed like 3,000 companies we saw pitch this past summer. So I'm curious, like how you think about this being like a feature versus a product, and if you're concerned about Zoom coming in and launching something very, very similar as a feature.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan. Keith, questions for Shun?
Yeah, thanks, Shun. It's crazy that my availability stack has now expanded to something where I realize I have an availability stack. And so just like David, I'm wondering, like, do you need to consolidate? Is there coming consolidation in this sector? Do you need to expand up and down the rest of the calendar? And are there white spaces you think that remain in managing availability that wouldn't be contested or that you think you could own?
Alrighty, let me stop sharing that. So that was a different take. You got a chance to see what some of the investors, the kind of questions they have for the users. And so a lot of times the investors or the people in the audience will give you a tough time, and so you definitely have to learn how to be cool when you're answering those questions. And the other thing you've noticed in these pitches is you hear a lot of talk about AI and stuff like that. But so the reason why you hear a lot about the AI stuff is because we're kind of like in this innovation economy, this automation economy. And so AI is one of the #1 automating processes and doing it efficiently. So that's why you hear about that stuff a lot. But as you can see in these pitches, they still go back to the kind of stuff that's in that lean canvas. And so if you understand how to build your business model using that lean canvas, you will be able to answer those questions that the investors are asking. And so, and you also seeing, these founders, they get tied into these networks. And so, as you saw, Jason, he's connected to these companies. The ones he likes, he brings other investors in. So you actually, you have to build relationships and within all these as you continue on your entrepreneurship journey. And so I'll show Atlanta Tech Village is the next one I want to show, but I may just show one pitch there, and then we can take time to make sure we field all your any questions that you might have. So let's see, can we find it here? The Atlanta Tech Village is just another program, that targets founders so it looks like it's like a pre-accelerator. So let's see what we have here. So this is like a program that it's a pre-accelerator, so it kind of prepares you for those other two that you just saw. And as you'll see, all of these have going to have a slightly different spin. Okay, get that back up big. Play.
Well, I have actually used these services before, and what I found is that you end up getting bogged down on sifting through an endless stream of profiles that don't actually match your needs. And that's where we come in. Matchmaking helps you find that roommate faster.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Caesar.
Thank you.
Okay, so next up, we have Ashley of Totem. Woo!
I'm a naughty mess. Paparazzi catch my fly and my cocky fresh. I'm so reckless when I rock my Givenchy dress.
Hi, I'm Ashley, founder and CEO of Totem, the all-in-one branding automation solution for small business owners. Just imagine if online logo generators had the same branding experience as that of a real agency. About 6 months ago, we had the opportunity of launching our first prototype for about 80 friends and family members, none of whom were paying customers. But in just months from launching our second iteration, we're already revenue positive, and we continue to nearly double in growth month over month. Our users pay a small fee of $15 a month, which, even with added branded services, ends up costing over 8 times less than any other branding tech solution on the market today. Now, the reason why access to professional design is so important is because we live in 2020. This is a time where augmented and virtual realities are possible. But yet, when it comes to professional design services, this is the best that we can offer. With growing popularity of digital content marketing, publishing could never be more important than now. But because it's so hard for business owners to adopt these practices, they're still left being vulnerable in times of mass innovation, and most recently, crisis. And because most small business owners cannot afford to professionally brand and market their companies, they're now stuck choosing generic options and risk compromising credibility with their target customers. Now, as a business owner myself that started her first company back in college, broke and ambitious, I know this problem very well. And I also know that this is not a decision that any entrepreneur wants to make. And now they don't have to, because we have Totem, an all-in-one instant branding solution for small businesses that nurtures the business owner through each step of the marketing journey. It starts with a questionnaire where you set key aesthetic preferences, and then our algorithms use artificial intelligence, target audience data, and industry design data to curate colors, fonts, and logos into a list of recommendations. And it doesn't stop there. Once we pick your favorite brand, it is then delivered to the platform so that you can seamlessly collaborate with your team. Our goal is to reach small businesses all over the planet, but we're going to start with the first 5,000 largest US cities, less than a quarter of this $60 billion market. Study each brand tech solution on the market today, and we've discovered that they all require some sort of personalization from their customers. But My Totem is different. We personalize the entire experience because we believe that seamlessness is the core of good design. We're raising $300K for a 12-month runway so that we can get to our first 10,000 active paid users. Now, as you heard earlier, I know this problem oh too well, and between me and my team of amazing advisors, we have over 3 decades of combined experience in business, technology, and design. It's safe to say that the future of branding is automation. Agencies are a thing of the past. This is our now. Join us and build your totem. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ashley. So now we're going to take it to Twitter for our Q&A. All right. So let's see the question. Hi, Ashley. Great job. How do you envision on-demand design services operating in this new normal? With everything going remote, where does Totem fit in?
Well, as we saw most lately with COVID, it's really hard for businesses to get online and constantly curate content. It's very time consuming and tedious, and it also requires some sort of design expertise. But with Totem, you can go on, answer a few questions, and affordably and quickly, you can get curated designs and then, apply that to your marketing content so that it's not so tiresome on your company. So we're automating it.
Perfect. Cool. Thank you, Ashley. Hey. Great job. All right, next up, we have Thomas from Metric.
When it comes to text,
All righty, so that's a pretty good cross section of pitches, and so there's a full gamut. So our Startup on the Blocks Future Founders Pitch Competition next week. It's targeting future founders and founders in the early stage. So the pitches may not be as polished as some of the ones you saw here, but what we're doing is we want to help people get started on their journey and learn some of these best practices of and the strategies for growing your startup. So the pitch competitions you saw here, they typically some of them were like demo days, so there's maybe no money tied to it, but those startups received some funding for participating in the accelerator program, and they received the free mentoring help and also the free services like from Google to use their cloud service, use all their AI tools, get help they need to kind of do those things. So I would love to answer some questions. I'll be glad to share some of my personal experience in pitching with pitch competitions as well. So don't be bashful. Let's get some questions going here. There's got to be at least one question in the audience here. Yes. I hope you get the one of the points in looking at these pitches is if you should get the idea that if you start working on your product or service or your idea, there are big companies out there that like Google, Microsoft. So Google for startups, so they have their program, and they do have programs that target Black founders, as you saw. Microsoft has their startup program, and Facebook. All of these companies have their program, and they're willing to help you grow your company. And so that's one of the key things here. And so spread the word on what we're doing here on Startup on the Blocks, and our job is to get you connected to the resources that you need to grow your startup. And the number one thing, if I review for tonight, is like I wanted the people that could participate in the pitch competition next week to kind of see some examples of founders pitching their company. And so you say, well, how am I going to come up with my pitch? How am I going to structure it? So Tom Godden, a few weeks ago, he talked about some of those things and about how to pitch your idea. And so one of the key things that you notice, they always hear. So typically you would have a little bit that talks about you and how you're connected to the problem you're trying to solve, and then you kind of describe the problem that you're working to solve, and then you go into your solution, for that problem, and you say what your solution is, and then you just walk the audience through how do you use your solution, and then you could talk about your marketing strategy, your revenue model, your team, and what your ask is. And so so that's kind of an idea of the floor of things. And so I hope this was helpful, and feel free to reach out to us, connect with us on our Facebook page, send us a message on what you need. And I'm always posting stuff I find out about resources that you can kind of use to help you with your startup. The help is out there, and if you're hungry enough, you can get connected to all the exciting opportunities out there. And one thing, what I also want to mention, you heard a lot about the AI stuff, and I'll end with this. So my whole career working for the Air Force Research Lab, working for the government, I started working with all kinds of technologies, working for the government, and my favorite technology was AI, artificial intelligence, working with neural networks. So the good news for all our startups here in our program, I am well connected to the tools and how you can leverage them and how you can use them, and also how you can use them to have a competitive advantage. So don't be afraid, don't be scared. Connect with Startup on the Blocks, like Vercel Vance said, step into the ecosystem and get your help. Thanks for tuning in today, and we appreciate all you all. Let's grow Northwest Florida. Let's grow Pensacola. Let's show the world what Black and Brown founders can do. We'll see you all next week for our pitch competition. It's going to be so exciting, and appreciate all the sign-ups. Please spread the word. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.